happy little games, punk. If you grew up in the 1980s and ventured into various arcades just like my siblings and I, there was one name that was synonymous with both quality and the ability to empty your pockets of any spare quarters. The company was known as Konami, and just the mere mention of that name brings a smile to my face and curious stirrings in my utility belt. It seems as if everything Konami put out had an extra special classification that would usually result in a fantastic gaming experience. They had created franchises such as Track and Field, Metal Gear Solid, Contra, Castlevania, and many more. Around 1989, they had started to take on officially licensed IPs such as The Simpsons, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the X-Men. They had tried to license the upcoming Tim Burton Batman movie, but it was already snug and secure with the company Sunsoft. Fast forward to 1993, and it's a whole different ballgame, and Konami was finally able to get their beloved Batman license, which is the game I am going to talk about today. So kick back, take your mask off, and enjoy the show. This is the history of Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo. Batman was created in 1939 by both Bill Finger and Bob Kane. Kane had come up with the initial idea, but it was Bill Finger who modified the design and made him into the character we know and love today. Jerry Robinson, artist extraordinaire, also helped contribute to the creation of Robin the Boy Wonder and the Joker. Not only did Mr. Finger help create the look of the world's greatest detective, he also created most of the mythology, including the Batcave, the origin of Batman, where a young Bruce Wayne witnesses the tragic murder of his parents, the vast assortment of Batman characters including the Penguin, Two-Face, Catwoman, Batmite, Ace the Bat-Hound, and my all-time personal favorite Batman villain, Dr. Hugo Strange. The character would go on to star in the live-action serials in 1943 starring Lewis Wilson. The 1966 absolute camp classic TV show starring Adam West is still one of my favorites and holds a special place in my heart. Michael Uslan, a longtime Batman fan, bought the rights to the character to develop a live-action serious movie that would wash away the ill effects of the Adam West version. Except for a short period of time where they were considering Ivan Reitman of Ghostbusters fame to direct the picture with Bill Murray and Eddie Murphy to play Batman and Robin. I'm sure glad we missed out on that. The first movie would star non-fan favorite Michael Keaton as Batman, going against the very first pick for the Joker since 1981, which was Jack Nicholson. This was a bona fide hit and would go on to bring in over $400 million back in 1989, bringing along with it another surge of Batmania that hadn't been seen since the 1966 Adam West show. Sunsoft had obtained the license and put out a really good platformer for the NES, although it didn't quite feel like a Batman game. It had some haunting original music and really cool animated cutscenes, but if you swap out the main characters, it could have been released as an original IP and nobody would have batted an eye. No pun intended. Now don't get me wrong, I loved it, but there were bigger and better things on the horizon. After Batman Return of the Joker was released, which was another excellent Batman game, the Batman license lapsed and Konami quickly dove in and snatched up the rights to the highly anticipated sequel, Batman Returns. We also got another classic commercial from Konami.
Intrigue of the hit blockbuster movie. Step into the silver screen as you fight for justice through 7 cruel and unusual stages. Meet your arch enemies in intense 3D simulation as you command the high-speed Batmobile. And then chill out in Penguin's dreaded Arctic world hideout. Gameplay is designed to appeal to all age and experience levels. Batman Returns brings superhero stature and silver screen simulation to the Super NES, only from Konami.
Companies have been trying to use these successful formulas, but something was always lacking. Games such as Sonic Blastman, and Captain Commando. Tried to replicate the gameplay of the previously mentioned games, but they just didn't quite feel right. Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo was pretty much a clone of Final Fight with its large detailed sprites and energy bars for each character. That's okay though, because this one has enough unique features and extremely tight gameplay to make it stand out from the rest. Batman Returns was first released in Japan for the Super Famicom in February 1993, and then a couple of months later here in the States. A friend of mine who was also a huge Batman fan imported the game, and when he showed it to me for the first time, my jaw just about hit the floor. I could not believe the sounds and graphics that were coming from this cartridge game. Here is just a quick sample of the opening cinematics. The entire opening is 4.5 minutes long, including for the first time ever in video game form, Danny Elfman's iconic Batman score. As the story goes, the Red Triangle Circus Gang has infiltrated Gotham City just in time for Christmas. You take on the role of the Dark Knight as you attempt to stop not only the circus freaks, but encounters with the felonious feline known as Catwoman. There is also a hideous monster lurking in the sewers known as the Penguin. As I mentioned, this is a pure clone of Final Fight, but if you are going to steal a concept from a game, why not steal from the best? This pairs very similar with the Super Nintendo version of Final Fight, unfortunately making this a single-player outing. But since Batman doesn't have his partner Robin in the film, it wouldn't make sense to have him here. For a good brawler to succeed, the controls have to be tight and the gameplay has to be fast, and sure enough, Batman has fists of fury when it comes to this title. All of your punches that you throw and the slams that you give have a sense of weight to them, and it feels fantastic. Along with your punches, you have a standing combo which will then turn into a knee and spinning kick for good measure, which does a lot of damage but leaves you vulnerable from behind. Also included is a jump kick. In addition to the flying jump kick, Batman has a flying attack in which he extends his capes, soars through the air, and knocks his opponents out. Whenever you walk up and make contact with an enemy, you will grab him and slam him to the ground. If just a typical slam is not to your liking, you can always do a combo where you hit the enemy twice and kick him once to finish him off. Similar to Final Fight, you do have a special move by pressing B and Y at the same time, which will cause Batman to spin around with his cape fully extended, knocking enemies that are nearby. Use this sparingly though, as it does take off some of your health. If you are near a building in the background and grab an enemy, you can slam them into it, shattering the glass. A very cool little feature, and it takes out any enemies that are in the way. If you manage to get between two enemies with one on each side of you, you can grab both and slam their heads together. Very cool indeed. Batman does have his trademark batarangs he can throw mixed in with his other attacks, but on certain levels it's batarangs only, which is a nice change of pace. He also has his spear gun, which can help him stick to the wall or ceiling. You can use this to pull yourself up to higher platforms. It's also possible to use it to help kick your enemies. To limit the amount of damage that you take from an enemy, you can block his attack by pressing the L or R buttons. Batman has a test tube which you are allowed to use 3 times per level. This will take care of most of the standard enemies on screen, but only does some damage to the bosses. At the time, this was probably the best Batman video game on the market. The graphics especially faithfully recreate the look and feel of the movie like no other. Everything from the giant Christmas tree that adorns Gotham Plaza to the Penguin for Mayor posters have an immense amount of detail and color. The 7 levels of the game follows the movie perfectly, with you having to deal with the same crazy circus freaks you saw on the big screen. The music is another exceptional high point which really adds to the atmosphere. Again, I was amazed when I heard it for the first time back in 1993, and it still sounds great today. There are 7 levels in the game with subsections in most of them. The levels you will encounter are Ambush in Gotham Plaza, Battle in the streets of Gotham City, On the Prowl, The Penguin's Trap, To the Batmobile, in which you actually get to drive the Batmobile chasing down the Penguin in his campaign van. Circus Train, and finally the Penguin's Lair. The bosses that you will encounter are Stun Gun, Strongman, Catwoman, the first encounter with the Penguin, the Penguin's campaign van, the Organ Grinder, the Penguin in his duck, and the final showdown with the Penguin. There are 4 modes of difficulty, with the hardest one giving you the best ending. There are also a couple of cheats that will give you 9 lives and extra continues. Konami really pulled out all the stops with this game, and any self-respecting fan of Batman and video games needs to check it out if they haven't done so already. Konami made other Batman games for the various systems such as the NES and personal computer line. Sega also held the license for the Mega Drive and Mega CD versions, which produced a rather fantastic Batmobile driving sequence. If you would like to see me cover these other games in length, please let me know. Otherwise, tune in next time. Same Pat time, same Pat channel. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, if you would like to join my Patreon, please click the link below. Thank you so much for watching.